That was so funny. Oh my god.
Oh, well, hey, everybody.
Hey. Oh, wait, you weren't speaking to me. You're speaking to the audience.
I'm speaking to the audience.
My
I feel
bad.
like I'm being watched.
Oh, well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Longbox Crusade, doing it live stream. Hope everybody's having a great Sunday. Delvin, you having a great Sunday?
I'm alive to see it. I can't complain.
All right. Pat, great Sunday?
Yes, I'm having a good Sunday.
Jason, Sunday?
Sunday. Yep, got up, had myself a nice breakfast, fixed some scrambled eggs, mixed a little crab meat in those scrambled eggs, a little
Oh, my
cheese.
goodness.
Boy.
I got out the air fryer. I made sausage balls. Oh, they were so good. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Would they
I
just
had
be meatballs?
No, actually, funny you should say that because I just finished lunch a little while ago.
Sorry, guys.
I'm living like a hobbit up in here.
Why are you asking questions?
You asked me how my day was. I'm going to let you know.
I didn't ask you.
Oh, Jared did.
Oh.
It's good, Jared. I'm having a good
A
Sunday.
good Sunday. It's good.
Scrambled eggs, sausage balls, and coffee type of Sunday.
All right. Yeah, I got up, went for my walk this morning, packaged and shipped out all my eBay, and been working on editing our latest Rogue Agents over on the OHMS pod feed. So you guys can look forward to that. And I definitely want to say hello to Courtney and Chola. And it's probably Rick.
Sean
Who's in the
Urbanski's
chat?
in here too, I see.
Sean, Kathleen.
There's Kathy, MVP of Dragon
MVP
Con.
Kathy, as she's known.
MVP.
So hello, everybody. We're here today to talk about our top 5 cartoons.
Mhm.
You would have thought I would have made a banner for that, but
You
I
didn't?
didn't.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? Yeah, you can't do everything, Jared. Yeah.
That is true. Jared does carry a lot of the weight of this show on his shoulders.
Somebody's
I'm heavy too. I put on a few pounds.
got to do it.
Got my
There we
quarantine
go.
15 going on.
Oh, there he is. Oh,
Speaking about shoulders, though, I never got to ride on Delvin's shoulders at Dragon
That's
Con.
the dumbest idea you've ever had.
They voted on it. Everybody said I should.
no one voted on it. It was just something that Pat just kept
I
saying.
voted, so that was 1-0. I
1-0.
didn't. Did you do a no vote, Delvin?
So
Of course, it was
You
a
know
no
what?
vote. My
while
back
they're,
was
while
about to
they're
collapse.
arguing, people in the chat, we get ready to talk about your top 5 cartoons. And if anybody here in the chat has any questions about our Dragon Con adventures, you can put those in the chat as well. Kathleen can probably answer most of them because she did the lion's share of the work at Dragon Con. But we will take Dragon Con questions and we will discuss our top 5 favorite cartoons. Who's fired up?
I'm fired up.
I'm fine with it.
Woo!
Delvin, I know you are because I know how much you love to make top 5 lists. It's your
Right?
your thing.
You should have look. Miranda already heard. Miranda already heard this rant already.
All right, everyone. Lists are not Delvin's thing. He doesn't do lists very often, and we force him to do it on the show. But it's all for fun.
We should have Van. We should have Van do it because Van loves the list.
Yes, Van
is a
Van
list
legitimately
guy.
does love the lists.
does.
Couple of Dragon Con questions. Why was Pat on people's shoulders?
It wasn't.
he wasn't.
That's the problem.
He wasn't. So
He tried. He was asking everybody. Can I get on your shoulders?
Yeah, can I get on his shoulders? Nope.
didn't work out for him. Courtney asked, "Did y'all behave?" At any given moment, a good 25 to 50% of us were behaving.
True.
Okay. All right. Another question, Auburn Elvis. Welcome to the chat. Chat's coming in a little too fast. I'm missing the clicks. Is Kathleen drawing a salary for Dragon Con work?
She should actually, really.
I think she's a Patreon member, so kind of the opposite. Did you
That's
find
our
any,
kind of Patreon member.
Did you find any
We
dragons?
squeeze all we can out of that dollar.
There are dragons to be found at Dragon Con. So we
Mhm.
can ask that. Chola asks, good question.
Yeah, we didn't.
We didn't.
So there's that.
So there we go. Oh, and then there's the question: how many people recognize you from your voices on the internet? The answer is One.
Yeah,
We
at
got
least one.
We got our very first person who recognized. I was recognized by voice, and Jason was recognized by voice at Dragon Con.
Yeah, it was really weird because he came up.
Same person though.
He was like Jason, and I was like, oh my gosh, am I getting served or something? So, but no, it was a salute to Jeremiah. A really nice guy. Came out and said hi to us, hung out with us. We took some pictures. He left us a really nice review on our.
Yeah, just
on our
going to check it
iTunes.
out now.
So, yeah, really nice guy. So, if you see this, thanks for stopping by, Jeremiah.
Yeah,
that's right.
When I came to the table to meet him, say, hey, this is Jeremiah. I was like, oh, hi, what's up, dude? And I was like, yeah, he listens mostly to Joe Chronicles. And I'm like, oh, well, screw him.
Yeah. But I come over here.
That's right.
He was really looking for Bravo team. That's what he was looking for.
He's in the mood for some Bravo team.
Right.
Awesome. I think that gets all the questions out of the chat as far as Dragon Con. We'll ask if we had to hire security to keep away groupies.
Why would we keep away groupies?
We don't keep away groupies.
Yeah, we embrace them. Come over to the table. Say hi. We had Kathy there. Things got out of hand.
MVP Kathy can handle anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
She helps set up. She helps do things. Mm-hmm. She's a bouncer.
Mm-hmm. She helps set up, help tear down, help get us the
she
panels
sold
on
more
time.
Van stuff than Van did. Wow.
sold Van stuff while Van was out. So anyway, that's the latest and greatest as we return from Dragon Con. Exhausted. I know I was. Wanted to sleep for several days. And I finally got that nap. But you know what? Let's talk about cartoons. Let's get into our number 5 cartoon. So if you people in the chat have you got your top 5 cartoons handy, you might start thinking about putting your number 5 slot in the chat at this time. And you know what? Just for fun, I'll start with Pat. What's your number 5 cartoon?
Oh, boy. Well, Jared, I'm glad you asked. It's hard to decide what your favorite cartoon is. And put them in the list, right, Delvin? I'm with you, though. I feel you. Because I was like, man, I just wrote down my list just right now. See,
I didn't even write it down. I'm
almost torn scrap of paper.
I'm kind of freelancing somewhat.
Oh. So there's probably some that I have forgotten. There's probably some that you guys probably have, and I could probably go for a little bit longer on my list, but with no prevail. And this is going to be an odd one, or this is going to be one that you guys are going to think, wow, shouldn't it be higher on Pat's list? Well,
Robotech.
Yeah, it should, but
Robotech.
It is G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe
cartoon. Yeah, okay. I'm more the comic guy, but I like the cartoon.
Same.
So I had to put that on my list. That was one of the cartoons that I would make sure I would run home for right after school.
Definitely.
To get the chance to watch G.I. Joe.
I did the same thing. I know Jason did.
Mm-hmm.
Delvin, I know you were less of a Joe guy, more of a Transformers guy. Did you still catch it after school?
Yeah, I watched plenty of Joe.
Okay.
What?
All right. People in the chat are coming in. We've got Thundercats.
Oh.
I like Thundercats.
Penelope Pit Stop.
Oh, wait, no.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Boondocks.
Boondocks
is hilarious.
Speed Racer from Elvis.
Good one, Auburn.
Mighty Mark Hathaway is checked in the chat, and he went all the way to number 1 already, and he says Fat Albert.
Hey.
Fat Albert. Oh, Aaron Moss is checking the chat, but he's just going to be here momentarily before he goes to see Shang-Chi today. Let's see. Jeff said, yeah, did not make the list, but it's an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Pat, Aaron definitely says it should be higher.
I got some good ones on my list, though.
He also says anybody that doesn't have Joe on their list is wrong, and it didn't make my top 5. I'm much more of a comic guy than a cartoon guy.
Yeah, I thought long and hard about G.I. Joe as well, because I did enjoy the cartoon, but I couldn't put it on my top 5.
So who's looking better now, Aaron? At least it's on my list.
Who's so fancy now?
Yeah, that's right.
I wear my USS Flag hat, though, if that helps.
Yeah, I love the comic book.
Oh, I like that hat.
Definitely. Oh, Kathleen just checked in. Scooby-Doo.
Oh, there we go.
Aw.
All right, so Pat's number 5. I'm making notes as if this is important. It's G.I. Joe. Jason, number 5.
Well, this is good for a Christmas list. So if you're looking to get us something, let you know. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. We can send you our address.
That's right.
Longbox Crusader headquarters. All right,
Can
Jason, number 5.
There you go. Okay. So I'm Weasel Skull. And what does Weasel Skull do? Weasel Skull does what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
I sat there and tried to figure out what's the top 5 cartoons of all time, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. There were too many good ones.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I broke mine down. I'm going 70s,
Oh my god.
80s, 90s,
Spectacle.
early 2000 today. My favorite one. So we're going to start off with the 70s, and Kathy already named it Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo was the first cartoon that I can recall. Like, that was must-watch Saturday TV for me. I love Scooby-Doo. I love the gang. I love the little van. I love the monsters. I love the spooky environment. I love the chases. Just loved everything about Scooby-Doo. And my kids grew up watching Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo's been a big part of the Weasel Skull family. So number 5, Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo. I love Scooby-Doo. I know Pat does. I bet it's on Pat's list somewhere because I know Pat's the biggest Scooby-Doo fan I know. There we go. All right. Scooby-Doo is number 5 for Jason. I do believe it's a good show. You got to admit, though, too, Scooby-Doo, staying power. That cartoon started in the late 60s and has been on TV in one form or another since then.
Yep.
That is dang impressive.
And live action movies, too.
Yeah.
Yep. It has spanned the cartoon globe. We got some love for Scooby-Doo from Aaron Moss. Courtney wants to know, where are you?
She's got some work for
Over
you
here.
Just stick to the laugh, Pat. Delvin, number 5, go.
Earlier, before I get to that, Courtney mentioned that either one that we see DDP, who is Diamond Dallas Page, or William Shatner at the con. The answer is I did see DDP at the con. I just happened to be walking past and just turned around and looked. It was like, hey, look, that's Diamond Dallas Page. I didn't get a picture or anything, but I did get to see him. But William Shatner, I did not. Did anyone get to see William Shatner by any chance?
I did not get to see.
I see.
That con is so huge that, I think I just stuck in the artist and the merch area the most. Besides when we had to go to panels.
Yeah, same.
To watch.
Okay. And now I should give my number 5. I thought about it, and I'm going to assume if I had to pick, because yes, there are so many cartoons. I have my number 5 at Batman the Animated Series.
We'll take it. It's low, but we'll take it.
Yeah, I enjoyed Batman the Animated Series. I remember watching a ton of it. It was highly influential. They created Harley Quinn for the doggone thing. And then Harley Quinn was such a good character that they put her in the comic book, which is always a sign that it was a very good character if they wrote her into comic book continuity. So great great cartoon, great art. Like, it was for kids, but any adult could watch it and be immediately entertained. So that's me, number 5.
I dig it, man. It is definitely on my list as well. We probably won't get to it till our final round, if you want a hint about where it is on my list. On my notes here, it says Jason's supposed to go next because I wrote Pat, Jason, Delvin, Jason. I forgot my own name. So there we go. It's my turn, peoples. And for number 5, I'm going to pick something that's a little obscure. Maybe you've heard of it. Maybe you haven't. Is anybody out there familiar with a little cartoon from 1993 called Exo Squad. Exo Squad.
Exo Squad looks cool.
Okay, let me tell you about Exo Squad. For those of you who don't know, which is probably a lot of you, how this cartoon. Oh, Delvin, you don't know?
I don't know.
How Exo Squad ever got like marketed and released to market the toys, which are kind of cool little, figures you put inside of robots. They have exosuits, hence Exo Squad. Now, how this cartoon got blessed off and put out to Saturday morning kids is beyond me, because I've sat down and watched it, and it is like deep science fiction, like the stuff that Van would write, like stuff you would read novels about. It's like that deep. It is not a surface level cartoon. Like, you have to pay attention to every episode, and there's so much going on at once. It is ridiculous. So if you like a really deep storyline, it was clearly made for an older audience. It's like as deep or deeper than Star Trek stuff. So if you want some interesting deep dive sci-fi stuff, check out Exo Squad.
Do you have Exo Squad on your Plex, sir?
I do.
Okay.
I believe you would, you especially of the four of us, would really like it. Pat, it has echoes of Robotech, so I feel like you would enjoy it as well.
I think they may have, used some of the mechs or something, maybe. Or
there are
interesting.
Similar things, but I mean, there's like so many different alien races and so many different storylines going on at once that converge, and it is complicated, sir. Complicated.
I would assume Exo Squad would have been a group of people who were very good at tic-tac-toe.
It's one of their other powers, one of their other many abilities and powers.
Tic-tac-toe is a game I used to play when I was little. I used to say, I got the X's, you got the O's.
You want to keep going?
I want that comes back again, Delvin. You didn't let me play that song for you by Kuiper.
Which song was that?
Tic-tac-toe by Kuiper.
What?
All right, we're moving on.
Anybody out there remember that song?
That's why he's the DJ, folks.
That's why.
For real.
All right, I'm telling you right now, if you never dipped a toe in it, I'm putting it up again. That's what the DVD set looks like. Check it out. Amazingly deep storyline. There's no way Saturday morning cartoon kids were absorbing that at all. At all. All right. Well, it's going to go into the round of 4. Oh, Kathleen supported Pat, so there's that.
Thank you, Kathy.
All right. Round 4 starts back with Pat. The round of 4s.
Oh, boy, we're starting back at me. All right. Well, for number 4, this one takes me back to more when I was even littler as a kid, but it really stayed with me. And it was one of the VHSs at the time when they started to collect these in VHS. I made sure that I would go out and buy the VHS of them. So I still have them in my video collection. If I could find them on DVD, that would be cool to have. That would be really neat to have. And if I could find them streaming somewhere, I've been looking for them so I could stream this. But it is the Rocky and Bullwinkle show.
Oh, Rocky and Bullwinkle.
And they were so fun, quirky humor, and I liked the adventures they would have where it would really get out of this. It kind of reminds me of a serial, like watching a Flash Gordon or something like that, but with more fun in it and just some quirky, humorous things. And as you watched it, as you got older, you start to get the more adulty kind of jokes that they would put in there throughout the day. And then you had the Fracture Fairy Tales. Those were funny too. And just all that show was about just was fun. I even played the video game that was made for I think it was on the SNES.
Yeah, it was on the SNES. And I remember the cartoon was one of those ones that came on after school when I was in about first grade. Because I remember it was on after school a lot when Jason and I had a little black and white TV in our room. Not that big. And I'd run home and that would be on oftentimes. Excellent, number 4. And of course, we're looking for number 4s for people in the chat, and some of them come in already. Chola liked Daria. I think that was a spin-off show from Beavis and Butthead, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct, Jared.
And of course, He-Man has entered the chat.
Good one. Good one.
And a show called Planet Earth that I don't know, but that's all right.
Could be Captain Planet, maybe. Courtney?
I don't know. Anyways, those are a couple fours that have entered the chat as we go to Jason. Before Jason starts, I should have done this at the beginning of the round. If you are in our chat and you want to be entered for a free cartoon DVD giveaway today, just put I love cartoons in the chat and we will get you signed up for that giveaway. So I love cartoons in the chat.
I'm slipping. I'm not even on the YouTube. Just see, excuse me. I will go to the YouTube now.
I've got you backed up.
It's probably not muted, so you're going to hear noise for a second. They're going to be like, was that Delvin? And the answer is yes.
Yes. So all questions have already been answered. And I see Chola has already entered I love cartoons. I've just jotted it down. And I think Rick wanted to be in on it too, but Rick mocked my choice of Exo Squad, so he's not going to be entered this time around. Anybody else at all? Yep. Oh, was that you, Noah?
So good. I'm trying to avoid it.
Yep, that was Delvin.
And Helica. And Rick.
And Courtney.
And Courtney.
I think the Duchess has entered the chat.
I saw the Duchess. She mentioned Pinky and the Brain. I'm starting to see cartoons I didn't think about. I was like,
I know.
Man,
I knew the chat was going to reveal a bunch of stuff. I knew the chat was going to reveal. Kathleen has entered it, so I got a kind of a backup list going here, Dylan. If you aren't to it, anyways, it's Jason was going to tell us his number 4 cartoon.
Okay, so we started in the 1970s, year I was born. Knocked out Scooby-Doo. Now we're moving into the 80s.
By the 80s.
By the 80s, I'm all in on Star Wars, right? Star Wars is consuming my life. Have the Star Wars toys, seen the Star Wars movies. Empire Strikes Back's out in 1981. Into all the knockoffs, Battlestar Galactica. And there was one cartoon that when we were playing as kids out on the playground, we pretended like we were the characters from this cartoon because of our love for Star Wars and all sci-fi related media. And that was Battle of the Planets, a.k.a. G-Force.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Not bad at all.
Love that cartoon. I still do to this day.
I believe one of their main characters' names was Jason, too.
Yeah, I always had to be that character. I always wanted to be Mark. Mark had he had the space, the fighter spaceship, and he flew the airplane. He had the cool little boomerang thing.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So, but I had to be Jason because of the name. That was the role.
Our friend of the show, musical genius Joe November, is a huge Battle of the Planets fan. Y'all should have that conversation sometime. Y'all need to start a
Battle of the Planets.
Battle of Planets podcast.
All right.
I would make I would take like Legos and make like Legos of the ships and that the bird that turned into it would always turn into like a fiery phoenix.
The phoenix bird.
Yeah. And it would say something.
Sean thought you were going to go with Star Blazers. I vaguely remember Star Blazers, but that's where Sean thought you were going with it.
Star Blazers was good too, but I was all into G-Force, man. Battle of Bot P. That's what I like.
Not bad. I remember you being big into it, and I was real small. So I have like vague memories of it. Like I was like 4 years old when you were into it, which would have made sense because it's the 80s, and I turned 4 in 1980. So there you go. Kathleen asked a good question. Can we make this a top 10? Because she keeps thinking of more. And I know I was thinking that too, but I was like, then our show's going to take 4 hours to get.
We'll be in top 50 before too long.
Rick said he was when you talked about Star Wars, he was afraid you were going to say droids. Why you got to hate on droids, Rick?
Nothing wrong with droids.
No, yeah, that's a good one too.
The Duchess throws in a Transformers, which I know is near and dear to Dylan's heart. I bet we see it on his list at some point.
I'm going to guess up there near number 1.
Possibly. Speaking of Delvin, while we're doing let's do some administrative work while I was covering while you were getting everything up. I have the following folks in the raffle. As a reminder, if you want to be in the raffle, just say I love cartoons in the chat. I've got Chola, Rick, Courtney, Kathleen, Aaron, and the Duchess.
That's exactly who I am.
Bam, we are in sync, sir. In sync.
Whenever I hear that, I always think of it as how I say it. The Duchess.
That's how I hear it in my head too. The Duchess. Okay. Yeah, you guys in the chat can go rogue and do whatever you want if you've got top tens. You're not going to follow our rules. But this takes us to Delvin, who had Batman at number 5. So what does he like better than Batman at number 4? Delvin.
Well, I like Transformers more than I like Batman, right?
True.
So Transformers is number 4.
Ooh, there's 3 higher than Transformers.
That's interesting. That is, I'm going to guess Spider-Man's up there somewhere.
I'm going to guess if I know Delvin, it says Batman, Transformers, question mark.
My Little Ponies.
Drawing of the poop emoji. That's what I think is listed.
I think it shows that I can't draw very well. So, and I never watched My Little Pony. Actually, Pat, I cannot think of a single time I watched My Little Pony. So I'm not a brony, I guess is what I'm saying.
I have.
But I should talk about Transformers, right?
Absolutely.
I have to. I host a freaking show about Transformers. Optimus Prime died in a movie, turned gray. Like the build-up for that was like completely unexpected. You didn't see it. They continued that continuity in the show where he was dead, and they did a whole thing where he came back and everything. So, I mean, the emotional investment alone was good. And I've often used the Transformers series as an example of why I felt that the Michael Bay Transformers movies weren't really that good. Because what I said is, okay, but after 3 movies, you had 6 hours of Transformers, and it's like, could you tell me anything about any character who was not named Optimus Prime or Bumblebee? The answer was no. But if you watch 6 hours of Transformers cartoons, you could tell you something about Megatron, about Starscream, about Soundwave, about Optimus, Bumblebee, Ironhide, like all of them basically. And those were in 30-minute cartoons where, I mean, maybe they only had 20 or 30 seconds on the screen. So just the excellent characterization, the art was good and sound. The emotional investment as a kid was good, and it was enough that it's carried me, as an adult who is 70 years old. So, yeah, Transformers is number 4, but I will explain to you why it's number 4 when I get into my 3, 2, and 1.
All right. You know what? It pains me to say this since I'm more of a Joe guy and Transformers guy, but I think animated wise, I think the show and the movie animated wise, Transformers was a little better than Joe was. And these days they're kind of fighting it out for last place as far as who has better live action movies. I think Joe is a little better than the Transformers. Although I will say this.
Why don't they just do a live action Transformers movie? Or at least, you know what I mean?
That's what I was about to say. Is if you've seen Bumblebee, the first 5 to 10 minutes it takes place on Cybertron, I just sat there and stared at that and was like, why weren't all the movies this? Because it was so good.
Bumblebee was good.
Good.
I enjoyed Bumblebee. It was like, holy crap, the Transformers actually look like Transformers and not like somebody's crystal meth nightmares. And when they transformed, you can actually see what they were and what they became. And so we'll stay positive. Let's just say I like Bumblebee.
Again, the look they had at the beginning when they're on Cybertron at Bumblebee, it was fantastic. It just made me weep for everything that had come before. I was like, it should have been this. It should have been this. Oh, somehow apparently we missed the Captain Caveman thing because apparently we gave no love to Kathleen on that.
I like
Captain Caveman.
I love Captain Caveman.
Laugh Olympics was good too.
Mm-hmm. And she's talking Thundercats and Speed Racer.
Thundercats. Yeah.
So cool. All right. Transformers in at number 4 for Delvin. Which brings me to my number 4. I went with a cartoon from 2011. So fairly recent. And I got into it because I was watching it with my son. And I see Pat's been in there moving pictures around. It's
Sorry.
The Looney Tunes show. Not to be confused with classic Looney Tunes, which are great, no doubt. But when they did the Looney Tunes show, which ran from 2011 to I want to say like 2013 for about 2 years, it's more of a sitcom based with all the characters that you love. And oh my gosh, is it very, very funny. Like it's one of those shows you can watch with your kids because it's got jokes for older people and the kids enjoy it too. So definitely going with the Looney Tunes show at number 4. It is phenomenally funny. If you've never tried it, if you just thought, oh, it's just sort of a reimagining of Looney Tunes and it's for kids, give it a shot because I think you're going to find the humor in it works really well for an older audience.
Is it like on the lines of Animaniacs?
Yeah, you could put it in that vein. Certainly could.
Where that's got quirky fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To this day, one of my very favorite moments is when they introduce a female duck character like Daffy Duck's kind of girlfriend. And when she very first meets Porky, he's sitting on the side of the road and she goes, "Hey, what's up, Porky?" And he goes, "How'd you know my name?" She goes, "I didn't." I thought that's awful, but it was funny at the same time.
Hey, shaming Porky Pig. Come on, man.
So, anyways, I will definitely recommend the Looney Tunes show. And Auburn Elvis has classic Looney Tunes number 1, and there's not a dang thing wrong with that. I mean,
nothing.
Is so much fun. We got a yes, that's a great one from Sean. I don't know if that's for Looney Tunes show or if it's for earlier on, but either way, he's supporting someone's choices.
Yeah, when I was thinking of my 70s, I was it came down to Scooby-Doo and the Looney Tunes. Like those were the two that stood out obviously the most. So yeah, I have some love for Looney Tunes as well.
Yeah, Looney Tunes is childhood. It's freaking childhood growing up. I mean, but there's so many of these that are. That I mean, I could completely come up with another top 5. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely.
I got a cool Looney Tunes jacket if you want.
Do you, man? Now you're gonna make me do a whole other topic. I missed the WB store. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah,
that was more.
I got mine at Wilson Leather.
I see. Rick gave me a nice one, Jerry. He's trying to make up for it so he can get back on the good graces. But I appreciate it. Oh, apparently Sean is into the show because he was talking about Daffy and Lola go to IKEA. Good episode. I'm telling you guys, there are a bunch of really good episodes out there. Don't sleep on, as the kids say, the Looney Tunes show. And that brings us to the end of our 4th round. So everybody get ready with your number 3 slots. I want to see them in the chat. We've had some good ones. And that's Aaron makes a good point. This list is for today. Tomorrow's list might be different. So many cartoons.
True. And with everybody putting stuff in the chat,
I know.
I want to give a shout out to Care Bears. That was I watched it and I watched it with my daughter. She was really big into the Care Bears, and I will admit, I saw when the Care Bear movie came out. I saw it in the theaters.
Did you do the Care Bear stare?
Yep. Yeah. And the reason why I saw it, the reason why I saw it was I actually knew the projectionist, so got to see it.
Oh, you went to the movie?
Yeah.
I remember when the movie came out too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were just hanging out there.
Apparently, we missed Courtney's number 4, which was the Snorks. I remember the Snorks.
I do remember Snorks. Yeah.
Elburn Elvis, you are right. I did cry at Puff the Magic Dragon. That every time I hear that song, it makes me sad. From the short cartoon.
Hey, your Care Bears is getting love in the chat too. Rick said he saw it in theater as well. I don't think I saw it in the theater, but I'm pretty sure we had it on VHS, and I probably saw it on that. And Courtney also loves the Care Bears. Awesome stuff. So let's drop those 3s in the chat. And Pat, we're back to you. You had G.I. Joe at 5. You had something that I can't read about. Rocky and Bullwinkle at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in at number 3.
Coming in at number 3 for me is one that's already been mentioned. And so I think without further ado, it's the Batman, the animated series. That was a game changer. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
1992.
And starting to re-watch that again now, along with some, there's another one I got to mention. I kind of like a lot of, I'm just adding some to my list now.
Jay said Delvin are doing the Shirley Walker theme song for you there in the background.
But yeah, the animated series, you can't go wrong with that one. And how interesting that they tried to do, they did that as a prime time, brought that out, and then it just became, and then just kicked off more and more cartoon stuff like that. The Superman, the Justice League, and all that. Just
like Delvin said when he mentioned it, number 5, it has such a good art style,
Oh yeah,
and I thought it was really great echoes because Batman was riding high after 89, and then Batman Returns in 91 or 92, anywhere somewhere in there, and because the cartoon came out in 92, and I thought they kind of just took the best bits of that, just the environment and how it kind of felt like it was kind of the 40s, but it was kind of modern day.
Yeah.
And
and the Batman wasn't all I am the night, like you could see his face and, he was somewhat personable, but a little bit of the dark, untouchable night as well. So that was also good.
I was going to say one of the things that I loved about it, I don't think that any of the actors have ever really replicated, was just the way the Bruce Wayne character, the voice modulation of the Bruce Wayne character, and then the Batman character, even though they're both, voiced by the same actor, just sounded so totally different. And it just amazed me. It's like the difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman in the cartoons, they nailed it in a way I don't think ever really got captured in the live action films.
No, you're right. Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman I hear when I read comics. Period. Yep. And Mark Hamill's Joker voice is the voice I hear in comics as well.
Top talent right there.
And like you said, the movie, The Mask of the Phantasm, man.
It's my favorite Batman movie still to this day.
Yep.
All the ones to pick from.
I really enjoyed watching it in the theater on the big screen, and I got the chance to. I think there was maybe me and my girlfriend at the time, and then some other person were the only ones in the theater.
Yeah, me and my buddy from high school went and saw it, and it only stayed in our theater, and it stayed in a lot of theaters for like a week because it came out at Christmas of that year, and just not a ton of people were going to the movies for Christmas. It was probably up against something pretty big, but it didn't stay in the theaters long. But that's a shame because it was great, and I'm glad you got to see a big screen.
Yeah, it was cool.
So we're in a very select club.
Laserdisc.
Let's look at some number 3s from the chat. This one is just truly outrageous. There we go. We got some She-Ra. Delvin,
Princess of Power.
This one's for you. Kathleen's got Transformers.
I don't see how she hadn't watched the movie. That seems impossible.
Maybe someone needs to watch it with Kathleen and do a Patreon.
There you go. G.I. Joe for the Duchess.
The Duchess.
I don't know why we all have to say it like that, but we do. My chat screen just jumped, so I'm probably skipping people. I'm trying to scroll back. I don't see any other 3s. Hello to Michelle in the chat.
Mine always gets stuck. It says new comments, and then I try to click on a new comment. Oh, finally it comes up. It just comes up when it wants to.
There's a good one. I remember that show. The Critic. It stinks.
The one bit that I always remember from that show was, I think he was about that. He asked someone out on a date or whatever, and the John Lovitz Critic character was like, "Okay, yeah, let me just check my calendar," and then like. One day was binge, next day was purged. One day was
binge. Oh my goodness. Some more love for G.I. Joe. Got a lot of people chatting about Batman the Animated Series, and it's accolades in the chat, so that's good.
It's definitely a game changer.
Definitely.
And I mean,
okay. He's giving you Albert Elf's giving you tech advice in the chat, Dylan. Change your chat settings from top chats to live chats. If you dare. And while you're thinking about that, I'll remind everybody if they want to be entered to win some cartoon oriented. I got some DVDs to give away today. Just put I love cartoons in the chat.
DVDs nuts.
DVDs nuts. That's correct. Which takes us to Jason's number 3. While Kathleen tosses in TMNT.
Okay, so number 3 for me, we're going into the 90s. I've kind of taken a break from reading comic books at this point in time because I just, the 90s was not a great time for comics, we'll just say. And but a cartoon comes out that just relights that urge, and that cartoon was X-Men the animated series. The X-Men series gathered all the great classic X-Men stories and put them in episodic format. So you'd have 3-part series, 5-part series where they're retelling the Dark Phoenix saga, or battles with the Space Jammers, or
Mind fights
with the Proteus saga. And it was just great. They somehow were able to take that and just make it big epic events that I, as an adult, I was tuning into on Saturday morning because I got to see what's going on in my X-Men. And that relaunched me into collecting X-Men comics again. And I haven't let go ever since. So I've got to give it to X-Men, the animated series.
Absolutely. That falls, I think, in the same category, although I do think Exo Squad goes even deeper. But I think X-Men almost fell into that almost too deep for Saturday morning cartoons thing, because they were like multi-part storylines, very Chris Claremontian. Well, and they were for an older audience, I would say.
And the thing is, because they would team it up with, they had Spider-Man also had his 90s cartoon that came out. So you get Spider-Man and the X-Men like back to back. So that was great.
No, X-Men. And what a great theme song, man. I can still hear it in my head right now. One of the most iconic cartoon themes, man.
Well, the interesting thing is, too, when you have a character like Wolverine, it's really kind of hard to give him something meaty to do. I remember in the 80s with Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends, they had Wolverine make an appearance, and I was like,
he was like Australian. Remember that?
Like, let's make some shrimp on the bobby. And then,
wait, I don't know.
I was like, what's he going to do? How's he going to fight in this thing? And then Magneto comes in and basically takes his claws and sticks him in a wall for the rest of the episode. And that was basically
it for Wolverine.
Good night, Mike.
But Wolverine's kind of got Leonardo syndrome from Ninja Turtles. Like, he's got those swords, but you can't really show him chopping people up on cartoon. So it's like they got to find a way to sideline him all the time.
So that's how they sidelined him. They'd stick him in a wall somewhere, and then everybody else would battle on. But they didn't do that with X-Men the animated series. They always had, he would come in and he'd shred somebody's armor, or he would tear up a robot, or he would, when he's fighting Sentinels, that was the best. Like he'd like jump in on the back of Sentinels, and go scraping down and rip them open. It was great. So. Loved X-Men, the animated series.
As your shirt proclaims.
That's right. Great.
It wasn't so bad either. That was a good series. Yeah, definitely kind of re-injected, like you said, sort of. X-Men got real popular, with that new title at like 90. I think that's when Jim Lee's title kind of came out.
Yeah. He started on the Uncanny X-Men in the 90s. He and Claremont, and then it got so popular they launched its own X-Men comic.
Oh, that was more like 92 then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then the cartoon was like, let's cash in on this. Let's go.
Keep those dollar bills flowing, y'all.
That was a good plan. It was a good plan. X-Men, definitely a good choice.
I'm going through and watching that. I think I'm 5 episodes in now.
Yeah, I've been watching it too on the Disney
Plus. Yep.
Michelle Moss tosses in with the pawpaws.
That's.
And then Kathleen was wondering, did you say something X-Men was good? There's plenty of things about X-Men I like.
His mind was changed.
You'll be hard pressed to find someone who enjoys the movies more than me. But I think it's because I'm not so tied in because people who love the comics are like, the movies aren't right. But because I didn't read a ton of the comics, I'm like, the movies are fine with me. So I'm like the champion for the X-Men movies.
I just think your mind got changed.
Yeah,
Chris Claremont
changed your mind.
Yeah, Chris Claremont also got it in my mind, and yep. And South Park has made a mention into the chat.
South Park's a great one too.
Well, that brings us to Delvin. Delvin, you had Batman at 5. No, I take that back.
It's your turn. Have you gotten yours?
No, I go last every round.
I lost the order.
You had Batman at 5 and Transformers at 4.
You're out of order.
This whole live stream's out of order. If it's my turn, then number 3 for me, it's I think that I saw Kathy mention whether or not like adult related cartoons are part of it, and of course they're part of it because they're cartoons as well. Mm-hmm. And that is kind of what changed my mind on my list, because I have to include the cartoons, especially now that I'm watching like all the time. So that number 3 for me is Bob's Burgers.
Oh, I saw they're coming out in the movie soon.
Yeah, that is what Miranda was telling me. And this was one of the shows that I probably never would have watched. And I was sitting there at the in-laws some years ago, and I think my sister-in-law Jordan, it was her show, and she put it on, and like I started watching it, and I'm like, yeah, this is funny, and yeah, I like this, and yeah, I'm going to be watching it. And so now it's kind of become one of those default shows where if we don't want to watch anything else, we'll sit there and put on Bob's Burgers. Or Miranda watches all the time when she's making breakfast, she'll just put on an episode of Bob's Burgers and starts playing it. And it's at that point now where I can, even after watching like the first few minutes of it, I can tell you what's going to happen the rest of the show. So I've watched a heck of a lot of Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, I understand. Just tossing some more up from the chat. We had a Super Friends mention, a Futurama mention.
Futurama's good, yeah.
A Bob's Burgers is sneakily good.
Bob's Burgers is another one I haven't watched. I started watching one that Delvin recommended. I'm not going to say what it is yet because I have a sneaking suspicion it may be on his list. So
probably.
So I don't want to spoil it. But
well, I'm glad you guys asked, because now it's time for my number 3. Much in the same vein as the obscure Exo Squad, I've got another quasi-obscure one here for you. Little cartoon that came out in 1986 that I think is definitely an underappreciated gem. I think it is definitely for an older audience, much like Exo Squad or X-Men of the 90s. It is The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers.
Oh, yeah, I remember
that was one I really thought about. Yeah, Galaxy Rangers.
With Thunderball, Goose, and the other two whose names I can't remember this time.
Redhead.
I think it was Doc. I think it was Thunderball, Goose, Doc, and the girl's name escapes me at this moment. But that was a cool cartoon that was ahead of its time. It had really cool animation. It was much more in that Japanimation style. They were definitely a cool set of characters, because Thunderball basically could turn his arm into like a cannon, shoot a laser blast, and Goose was like a gunslinger who had a real cool power to adapt to his environment. Like if you tried to drown Goose, he would like grow gills, and if you tried to freeze him, he'd grow fur and stuff. Like his body
like Darwin from the X-Men.
It was very cool.
Except he didn't die.
Yeah,
Uh-oh, we got off track.
Yeah, we can get into this.
As was typical with most of your 80s cartoons, the girl had mind powers, because, that was the rule back then. She was a psychic, I do believe. And then Doc was like a mathematical genius. Like he could do equations so quick. It was a really cool little team, and some deeper storylines like we talked about with Exo Squad or X-Men in the 90s. So definitely something to revisit maybe now that you're older. So if you haven't given Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers a second look, then I would do that.
Never watched it.
It's worth your time. It has a cool theme song too. It's worth your time and effort. While I was running my mouth, we got a little Last Airbender and Avatar love going on.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Rick actually remembered that one, Galaxy Rangers. So, and then Michelle said the only Japanese style she liked was Voltron. That's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a good one too. The old classic ones. The Netflix ones is pretty good too.
Watch Voltron. I watched Tranzor Z as well.
Tranzor Z,
which was Mazinger Z, I think, when it originally came out.
I've been always trying to rack my brain. Back in the 80s, early 80s, late 70s, when HBO and Showtime were just kind of getting around, they did some animation stuff that you had to kind of catch early in the morning or so. And I don't know if it was the Tanger Z but it was, it was the big robot, and the guy would like somehow get into those robots through secret tunnels. And I always dug those cartoons as well too. And I wish I could find them again to relive those memories. But they were big mech robots, and it would they would fly into them or something, or form the head, and then it would form the head and do whatever it needed to do. But it was really cool. And I think they would like combine a bunch of them together to make like an hour-and-a-half show and on HBO or Showtime, and that they would play them.
Michelle Moss asked, what was the cowboy one? I think she might be talking about Brave Star.
Brave Star, yeah.
That's what I came to mind when I saw the question in the chat was Brave Star.
Eyes of a hawk. Ears of a wolf.
Right. That's right.
Strength of a bear. Speed of a puma.
Oh, speed of something. A puma.
Speed of a puma.
Oh, that was a cool show. If that's the one, okay, we got verification. That's the one she was looking for.
I was, speaking of hawk, you got Silverhawks too. Was a good one.
I think Auburn Elvis mentioned Silverhawks earlier, and I missed putting it on the board. I try to keep up with these. They come in quick, folks. Courtney mentioned Archer, which is another great show.
Archer's awesome. Yes.
And Kathy kind of said along those lines, mature cartoons should be on a separate episode. She's probably right. I wish she put mature in quotes though.
Right.
Made me feel weird. All right. We're getting into our number 2 slots, and a reminder to anybody in the chat. First of all, we'd really appreciate if you're not subscribed. If you would subscribe, that'd be great. If you give us a like for the episode, we'd really appreciate that. And more importantly, if you put I love cartoons in the chat, you'll be entered to win our giveaway for this episode, which we'll be doing here after we wrap things up.
I still have the same 6, by the way. I didn't see anyone else that said.
I also have the same 6.
I love cartoons.
I love cartoons in the chat.
Oh, we got our Facebook like.
Oh, I bet that's Michelle Moss because she's our Facebook person watching right now.
Very cool. Thank you, Michelle.
I'm laughing at Auburn Elvis because he's starting to try a dislike cartoons thing in the chat, which is amusing to me, but it's not our brand here at Longbox Crusade.
Right. We don't do that here.
He mentions Big O, and I remember that one.
Oh,
I was on the Cartoon Network was doing some animation stuff back in the day.
That one was mature cartoons.
I was like, Miranda told me Big O didn't exist.
All right, let's move on.
It does, Delvin.
I just added Michelle
and it's
Moss
glorious.
to the I love cartoons list, by the way, Delvin, if you didn't see her.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
Hey, let's go back to Pat for his number 2 spot.
Oh, all right. Well,
hang on. Let me address Albert Elvis in the chat. You do whatever you want in the chat, Albert Elvis. We're not belittling you. If you want to tear down cartoons in the chat, you have a ball with it. It's just not our brand on the show. So don't feel judged. Have fun with it in the chat. Just don't hurt anybody's feelings. All right, back to you, Pat. Unless it's Kylo. Pat, number 2 spot.
All right. Well, coming in at number 2 for me. It's another one. Was it mentioned? Was it maybe? I don't know. It was mentioned somewhere already, either in the chat or in the chat, I think, because I don't know if you guys did it, or not. But I am going with this is a near and dear one to me. It's something that I watched a lot as a kid, and it is something that, as my daughter grew up, is something that she would always watch and just love. We actually did her room as she was a child in this theme, and was pretty cool. I got one of those back in the day. If you wanted to put something on the wall, you got one of those projector thing, with the light that shines up like a teacher would do. So we did that.
Still have one.
Do we? Cool. And so we did that and put that up on the wall, and with some coloring pages from this cartoon, and put them up on the wall, and I traced them, and then I painted them in, and it was really cool to do. So with that, it is going to be Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
There it is.
High on your list. I knew it. Scooby-Doo is back. Out for that graphic. That was excellent.
You like that? Yeah. So Scooby-Doo is just, I really like the older ones. And then when they got into the other ones with the special guest appearances by and all that. So if anybody's a fan of the LBC Crew Show, you'll probably understand where that I got that from. And so I've been trying to talk Jared into doing Jared, you know it. Been trying to talk Jared into doing a Scooby-Doo podcast where we go through the episodes, just kind of like we do with Sherlock Holmes and Flash Gordon and all that. But so if anybody's interested, let me know.
We just need someone to edit it.
We just need an editor.
We just need someone to edit it.
Well, we're always looking for new shows.
So a YouTube show like the Warriors.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go too.
Some of the number 2s in the chat, if you guys want to giggle about that. Transformers, Captain Planet. Kathy's got my back against the wall here. Tripping the Rift. I got nothing on that.
I don't know that one either.
Have you been doing drugs, Captain?
Sounds
like a euphemism.
Rainbow
I was tripping the Rift this weekend.
Got
know what they put in it, but
got Auburn
Rainbow
Elvis
Bright
crushing on Velma. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And Kathy's got Kid Video, which I vaguely remember.
I vaguely remember that one too.
Rick has declared he will not be editing the Scooby show, but he's very enthusiastic.
Come on, you could be on it, Rick. You can be on it.
Could be your show.
Yeah, it could be your show.
He already has a show.
I said it could be his show.
Yeah, don't work on some stuff.
Sorry, my bad. Running your thing.
Delvin, you got 2 shows. Why can't Rick have 2 shows on the network?
Let's see. Do I?
Come out to play.
Does that count as a show?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
We're still waiting in on the numbers on that one.
Oh,
apparently, Tripping the Rift was on Sci-Fi. Got me on that one. We have something to look into. And while we're thinking about that, Jason, you had Scooby at 5, G-Force at 4, X-Men at 3. Number 2 is
going into number 2. We're entering the early 2000s. Now, if I had done a top 5, Bruce Timm probably would have been, 1 through 5,
probably
on this list. Like you guys already covered, Batman was great. I love Batman Beyond. The Superman Adventures of Superman was really good. But my favorite was Justice League Unlimited, and that's what's coming in at my number 2. JLU, because they incorporated any and every character into that, and the storylines were so great. You all know humor, heart, spectacle, and art. That's the 4 things that I like to see in my comics and in my entertainment, and that show had it all in spades. Still love Justice League Unlimited to this day, and so that's going to be my number 2 coming in.
I don't think I've seen a lot of the show. Clearly, I knew of it, but I don't think I sat down and watched a lot of it. But man, I collected the heck out of their action figure line because they made so many, like you said, so many figures that never had really figures before, all in the same scale.
Yeah.
I had characters like Aztec and Black Lightning and characters who just weren't mainstream up until then,
Booster Gold Kid was in it, and Jonah Hex, and just you name it, the character was in there. It was fantastic. Had one of my favorite scenes too. I don't remember if it was Justice League or Justice League Unlimited, where they had captured Batman, and Joker was with the villains like in their meeting. He's like, "Who's watching Batman?" They're like, "Oh, he's captured. We didn't need to put a guard on him." He's like, "And you think I'm crazy?"
By that point, he was probably already out. All right. Justice League for Jason's number 2 slot, which means it's Delvin's number 2 slot time.
And we're moving more into the realm of adult cartoons, I guess. Even though we're kind of near Bob's Burgers and we're sliding further there, especially because as an adult, I watch way too much Adult Swim on Cartoon Network.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, somehow you look down, you look up, and you have watched a whole bunch of a cartoon where if you don't mention the cartoon in your top 5, particularly right now at this point in my life, it would be doing a disservice. So my number 2 is American Dad.
Oh, okay.
That's a funny one.
because I have watched so much American Dad at this point, and at some point, like it's gotten to the point now where, like, and I know they're the same creators, but Family Guy just got super formulaic, and American Dad still just trips me out. And I remember distinctly when American Dad came out after Family Guy had a decent amount of success. And American Dad first started out, and it just really seemed like a discarded vehicle for Family Guy jokes. And so I went away from it, came back to it, and at some point they realized that if they completely just overutilize the character of Roger, who's the alien, as any plot device that they wanted, the show just
I see.
It just took off to where, I mean, and then it got a little bit funnier when they could throw a little bit more adult situations and cursing in it when they moved it to TBS from Fox, which is where it is now. And I don't know, it just, you know how it is where you just have that, like, you know, right, that funny spot where they just got a show that just seems to fight. Beep, 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 beep. That's American Dad for me right now. So awesome. American Dad's my number 2.
Very cool.
You know, you've given me made me want to take a second look, because I always was of the opinion that it's like a bonus show if you like Family Guy, you know, watch some American Dad. But it sounds like it's really found its own identity. That's cool.
Yeah, it did. Like, if you believe it or not, like last season it went over its 300th episode.
Whew.
It is
hanging out.
It has been on for 16 seasons at this point.
I'm getting old. I remember when it was new.
Yeah.
That would have been about 2000. About 04 is when I remember seeing. Anyways, there's getting a lot of love in the chat right now for the D&D cartoon.
Oh, I love that one. I really thought hard about, because I did love that as well.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm with Rick. I remember when they dropped the DVD set at Target, and it was like you get every episode. There's not a ton of them. I want to say there's maybe 20 something episodes, but they dropped it at Target for like $4.99, and I was like, how the hell am I not gonna pick this up?
Yeah, they just released like the final episode. I think some fans or somebody got a hold of it and they kind of put a finish to it. So on YouTube,
that's cool.
Need to watch that.
Good tip. Inspector Gadget just got some love.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
Now, Jared, you watched some Inspector Gadget back in the day, as I recall.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was definitely a go-to after school show for me when I was around about 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, somewhere in there. Yeah. Excellent. All right. And which brings me to my number 2 show, which debuted in 2003 on a channel called MTV. And it is the Spider-Man MTV Spider-Man show.
Oh, that was so good.
Animated. It wasn't actually called MTV Spider-Man. It was called Spider-Man, I think, The New Adventures. In fact, if I move my banner, new animated series is what it was called. And it had a really, really cool design to it. It was just on the heels of the new Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. So Spider-Man was in the consciousness. Neil Patrick Harris does the voice of Peter Parker in Spider-Man, and he nails it. It's a phenomenally good show. It really captures the flavor of Spider-Man if you dug the comics, and puts new twists, new villains. Again, just a really cool aesthetic to it. Very, very fun show. Unfortunately, only lasted 1 season. I want to say maybe 13 episodes. And it's highly entertaining. If you dig Spider-Man cartoons and you missed that one, check it out. Brian Michael Bendis was a producer on the show. Jason and I met him at a con one time. I had him sign my DVDs.
DVD's nuts.
DVD's nuts. Exactly.
Ooh, that had to hurt.
I straight up asked him, I was like, "What? You know, the show was so good. Why did it die such a sudden death?" I think it was, I want to say maybe 13 episodes got its first season out, and then MTV didn't carry it again. And he said, well, MTV truly didn't understand the product. He said, he was infusing a lot of that Spider-Man Unlimited flavor into it. Or I'm sorry, Ultimate. Ultimate Spider-Man into it. And he said he actually got a memo from an MTV exec that said, must we have so much spider stuff going on in this cartoon? And he was like, it's Spider-Man. And they're like, yeah, but does it have to have so much spider iconography? He was like, yes. It's Spider-Man. And so he was like, the execs just truly didn't quite grasp it, and so that's why it died. He was quite sad that it went away, because he had a vehicle for a really great show. So
I'm confused. What did they want?
That's just what he told Jason and I, that they didn't.
Yeah,
they truly like didn't understand. Like they knew nothing about Spider-Man. Some of these execs he was dealing with, and like how you got that far in life without knowing anything about Spider-Man is crazy.
I legit need to be an exec, because apparently all you really need is money. You don't really need to know anything.
Apparently. So yeah, he said it was frustrating, but he is proud of what he did, and he should be, because if you've never checked it out, check it out. And again, it's only a 13 episode commitment.
they're 13 good episodes.
They're real good. Yeah. The good part is, if you've never watched them before and you're out there listening land and you put it on your, or watching land and you put on your list of things to watch, you're going to enjoy it. The bad news is you're going to get to episode 13. You're going to be like, you're going to have that Firefly feeling all over again.
Don't bring it up. Oh.
You're just going to be like,
Yeah.
why can't
I was going
to
to say that. Yeah, I said I really get the vibe that it's suffered the same fate as Firefly. Just producers didn't get it, and it just never really had a chance. I toyed with the idea of putting this one on my list, but to be honest, Jared, I had a sneaking suspicion you were going to have it. So
You know me.
I let it go.
Oh goodness. The Wizard cartoon.
The Wizard.
Do you mean like the show or the animated movie, The Wizard, from like that was late 70s?
Oh, Pat's
Around
on
there?
to it.
Yeah.
Oh, she's talking about that. I remember the Pac-Man cartoon.
Oh, Pac-Man. I like
Pac-Man. Yeah.
And
That's a good Saturday morning one.
loves the Spidey. Courtney, if you've never seen the MTV Spider-Man, worth hunting them down. All right. It's time for the round one. So everybody get your favorites ready. One last call if you want to be entered to win a raffle of some DVDs we've got today. DVDs nuts. Put I Love Cartoons in the chat. And so far we've got, you can double check me on this, Delvin. Chola, Rick, Courtney, Kathleen, Aaron, the Duchess, and Michelle.
That's all I have.
All right. Then let's get into our final round, our number one spots. As Nelly would say, I am number one. Pat, you do the honors, sir.
All right. Well, for my number one, I guess this wasn't hard to do, but and we've already mentioned it before, but this was a cartoon that I would run home to watch when it was on the afternoons, and then I think it got switched to the mornings, like around 6:30. So then I would have to get up early, probably around 6:15, 6:20 in the morning, just to catch the show at 6:30 in the morning, right before I would go to school. But it was something, I got up for it.
I think I know what it is.
Yep. And I loved it. Now, what they did with it is it was a compilation of edited for the American version from a bunch of other, Japanese animation from other sources that made it into this. So if this was a soap opera, or actually this was a soap opera for me. I mean, they tell a great story, and it goes between 3 generations, and it's Robotech. You have the 3 generations there. You got Rick in the middle, Dana Sterling on Rick's left or right, whatever way you're looking at it. Yeah, that's his right. And then you have Scott Barnard. So they from the other generation. And this was just something that, man, it turned into like I said, a soap opera for me. You had to watch it because each episode was building off of each other through the whole story. And that would be another one that I'd like to podcast on, but there's so much to podcast on and do.
Well, Rick might join you on this one because look at what he's got.
Yeah. I know. I mean, me and Rick have been talking about it for a long time. This is also, if you're into it or something you want to see or do, the books too just go into more detail and build the story and make it more lush and just
I was going to ask because I seem to recall you have a lot of the books too as well.
Oh yeah, yep. I have all the books. There's about 21 books in all. Tell a lot of story, a lot of deeper details into the story. So
I'm just throwing up some more number ones from the chat while you were talking. A little She-Ra love.
Me some. I love me some Robotech.
Smurfs and Ninja Turtles.
There you go.
Snorks.
I've watched a lot of Snorks.
Billy
Definitely
and Mandy,
watched
which
Smurfs.
sounds made up to me.
Snorks were the underwater.
Yeah, they had that little tube.
Little tube on the head, yeah.
Basically underwater Smurfs.
Yeah, someone in the chat called them the Kmart Smurfs. All right. Robotech is the champion for hats. Now, Jason had Scooby at 5, G-Force at 4, X-Men at 3, Justice League Unlimited at 2. But you're going through eras. Mm-hmm. So I guess we're at your most modern era?
Yes.
All right, what do you got?
So this one's a shout out to my son, Drake. Drake loves anime, Japanese anime, and he's always trying to get me to watch more anime. So I've delved into a couple animated series, including Full Metal Alchemist, My Hero Academia. Those are a couple that he had me watch. And although it is not technically an anime, it's kind of done in that style, and Drake loved it and convinced me to watch it. Auburn Elvis has already mentioned it. It's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh.
I watched the entire series, and man, it made me cry in some places. Like, it's that, it tugs on your heartstrings that much. It made me laugh out loud in a lot of places. Has great action, great characters. It's, if you like the chemistry of the original Star Wars gang, mixed with, fantasy, large battles, powers, Avatar: The Last Airbender is the show for you. Absolutely loved it. And thank my son Drake for introducing me to it. It was a great, great show.
Well, I put some love comments up on it while you were talking.
Have you watched the movie, the live action movie of it?
The M. Night version?
Yeah.
I took my kids to see it because they were into it back in the day. I fell asleep in the live action. I'm not going to lie. The kids
The Last Airbender?
Yeah. The kids didn't like it either.
Yeah, I've heard it wasn't super good, but
maybe I just didn't get it. It did. Ooh. But I've heard so many good things about the cartoon.
Yeah.
And that is just transcendent. So could have just been an outlier.
Well, the thing, and I'll shut up after this, but the thing that's really amazing to me, I promise, Jared.
I almost did a spit take.
Is that each character has its unique arc. It's centered around Aang, of course, the main protagonist, but every character just has a deep, rich, compelling story. And it's just phenomenal. Just well done, well written, great animation, just well executed from start to finish.
All right. More number ones in the chat. Kathy's got Family Guy and Smurfs at her number one in 2 different categories. Now, Kathy takes up for the movie. She said that she enjoyed the movie, and that's what led her to the cartoon. So I can see that. Mm-hmm. It's probably easier to go that direction, from movie to cartoon, than the other way.
I'm still waiting for a Robotech movie. So
in that regard, it's probably much like we have an upcoming pop culture podcast room talking about The Dark Tower. It's probably a lot easier to go from that movie to the books than the books to the movie. And we'll talk about that when we get there. Excellent. All right. So that is Avatar, Jason's number one. That means it's Delvin's turn to reveal his number one cartoon.
Yeah, none of y'all have been, well, we don't have trivia anymore on Tuesday evenings, but when Miranda and I came to Charlotte, both of us like trivia, and she always leaves it up to me to come up with a trivia name. And for the longest time, I was naming the trivia names off of references from this cartoon. It's probably the same cartoon that I was telling Jason that they need to watch and everything. It is Rick and Morty. I have watched particularly the first 3 seasons of Rick and Morty so much. It's funny. It is inventive. This past season that just ended this past Sunday, fearless in its writing. It's created this cult following where you know how it is. Never go to the comments, right? And you'll see some of the comments like on their, say, Instagram feed, and like every time there's like half the people like, this is the greatest show ever, and half of them like, this is the worst show ever. But they always stick around to make the comments. You get what I'm saying? And the show seems to be very pristinely aware of its cult following and doesn't care about any of it, but always gives a wink and a nod to acknowledge that, yes, we know that you're out there making those comments. But the storytelling has been absolutely fearless. It has been a funny show. It has been a touching show at times as well. It's just one of those that somehow manages to simultaneously fill you with wonder, but pulling your heartstrings a little bit, but actually make you laugh out loud funny. And at times, which I'm going to have to do, like the last season finale, I'm going to have to watch it again because there are so many things that they threw into it that there's no way that you can catch it on the first watching around. So for me, number 1, Rick and Morty.
Never seen an episode.
I just watched my first one off of Delvin's recommendation when I got back from Dragon Con, and I was laughing. So like the very first line that comes out of it is Rick's waking Morty up. He's drunk as a skunk. He's like 5 sheets to the wind, and just says, you got to wake up, Morty. I built a neutron bomb, and I'm gonna end it all. That's basically it. It's just gonna end it all.
Yeah, I tell you what, I probably wouldn't have watched it. And this is yet another one. I have the Maney family in particular, my wife this time, to thank, because she was like, she was like, do you want to watch? I was like, I don't know. I'm just hemming and hedging for no reason at all. And she's like, well, I'm putting it on. She put it on, and like after the first episode, I'm like, okay, keep playing. I just needed to be. You need to just drag the horse to water. I'll drink, and I've been drinking deeply from the Kool-Aid ever since.
Or when he gives Morty the boots that can walk on any sets, to climb down the cliff face. He's like, I'll stick to anything. He's like, all right, and then he just falls down. You got to turn it on. You got to turn it on, Morty.
Oh, well, maybe someday.
Yeah, that's funny. It's good. It's got some good messages in it too.
Well, with that, all that's left is my number 1, which is the most anticlimactic part of the show. So there you go. There you go. It's a Batman the Animated Series. Big shocker there, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody take a minute to soak that in. And judging by, if I was to give scores based off of everyone's top 5, it would be the LBC's aggregate favorite cartoon would be the Batman Animated Series. We've extolled its virtues. If you're not familiar with it, I don't know where you've been. Get familiar with it. So, it's Batman the Animated Series. So there's your rather anticlimactic end to this episode.
Well, I think, just to give you a little bit of love here, Jared. I mean, I think that there's a reason why it's so popular, and we've touched on it a couple different times here. But for me personally, I was never the biggest fan of the live action Batman movies. I don't think that they've ever really captured it as the essence of Batman as well as this animated series has.
That's fair.
It had such a unique blend of realism mixed with fantasy. It took itself seriously, not too seriously. It balanced everything out just so well.
Mm-hmm.
The music was great. The animation was great.
Mm-hmm.
Storytelling was great. And, I just, to this day, I haven't found, a live action Batman, and I've liked some of the live action Batman. Don't get me wrong, but between this one and then Batman Beyond, what spawned out of that, just some great storytelling.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's a huge surprise that this is going to be number one because you love Batman. But
That's my thing.
I can certainly see why. As a casual Batman fan, I love that series as well.
Absolutely. A lot of Bat love. Rick mentioned something interesting. We've mentioned all the franchises on our network crest, which you can see up there by Pat, which is true.
Yeah, we did.
Every franchise has been mentioned. Good catch on that. And that's winding us down, man. Time for some raffles.
All right, prizes time.
Not to be confused with waffles. It's raffles.
Waffles.
All right.
Ooh.
We have everybody who's got the I Love Cartoons in the chat, which by my count and Delvin's count was 7.
7. All 7. And
So Delvin's going to do that thing in a moment where he's going to put. He's going to
step away for just a second. My son's coming over. I need to make sure the door's open for him.
Well, bye. All right, so Delvin is going to do that thing where he puts his pencil in a random one of these, and then we're going to let Courtney pick a number between one. Courtney, you still out there in the chat? Yeah, she's out there. Pick a number between 1 and 7 for Delvin. And while you're doing that, I'll tell you what you're going to win. Since it's our cartoon themed episode, let me adjust so it's easier to see. You'll get the Pink Panther Pink Christmas cartoons. You'll get the Cartoon Craze. This has got a bunch of the Max Fleischer Supermans on it. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the Max Fleischer Supermans, which I can't believe didn't make my list either because those are really good. And the Next Avengers animated movie. So those 3 will be coming your way once Courtney drops the random number 1 through 7.
Ooh, that's some good cartoons.
Well, that was one that was missed too. Yeah, the Avengers one, Avengers Assemble, was good too.
Yeah, I love that one too. I thought long and hard about it.
So many good cartoons.
There's so many to pick from. All right, Courtney. Gonna have to do your thing. She picked 4, Delvin, so move that pencil 4 spaces and announce our winner, please, sir. It's me, isn't it?
4 down from the spot that I had marked. It's Courtney Holland.
Courtney called her own shot.
That's rigged.
Pat, you can't win anyway. Well, congratulations to Courtney.
It's a 4.
It's a 4.
Now, I've put the banner. This is what Courtney just won, everybody, just in case you want to remember.
What's on that Cartoon Craze? What kind of cartoon?
Well, you were off it's 8 episodes for the Max Fleischer Superman.
Ooh, boy, that's a good one. That is.
And then, of course, the Pink Panther Christmas cartoon. So that's coming your way, Courtney. Congratulations. And if you are a Crusaders Club member, which is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, you will also always get something free, whether you're here or not, to win. Pat, have you already pulled that up?
I have it up, but I have to grab everybody.
You gonna run your randomizer again?
If I did, it might take a little bit. So.
No, don't worry about it. I can run. I got one that will run much easier.
Okay.
I got it.
Sorry.
I got it. No worries. We currently have 32 patrons, and we're thankful for each and every one of them. And that's no problem because I'm just going to bring up a random number generator and set its dimensions from 1 to 32. And we'll
While
see
you're waiting, don't forget to like, smash, and whatever. Like, subscribe.
Like it.
I'm not hip. I'm trying to be hip, like the kids say. But
Rub it up and rub it down.
Oh no!
Well, I just ran the randomizer, and the prize is going to be, speaking of animated stuff, apparently, and I didn't know this, the Watchmen series did the Tales of the Black Freighter. For those of you who've read the Watchmen, there's sort of this story of the Black Freighter that sort of weaved in through, and I never understood why. But apparently it got its own animated film, and we got the nice new Blu-ray of it. And the winner of that is going to be a recent addition to the Crusaders Club family. A gentleman by the name of Jason Keene has just won that off the randomizer.
Oh, that's me. Oh, good job, Jason Keene.
It was Jason all along.
I crashed your little party.
Jason Keene just won the Black Freighter Blu-ray. I hope he enjoys that. We'll send that his way. Again, if you want to get entered to win free stuff, even when you're not able to make it to the shows, if you look down there at the bottom of the screen, just go to patreon.com/Longbox Crusade for as little as, what is it, $40 or $50 a month?
$1, dude.
$1? What are we giving this stuff
Yep.
away?
Yep.
The hell
it was higher, but like inflation adjusted the rates.
All right.
And we're at $1 a month.
All right. Well, that is about it. If you guys want to know what we are up to this week in podcast adventures, I can tell you. Delvin and I will be back on Tuesday at 7 p.m. with Come Out to Play, our New Warriors live stream that we sort of turned into a podcast as well. It's double whammy. Then on Wednesday, Pat and I will be recording G.I. Joe number 25.
Oh,
and it looks like we're going to be joined by Aaron Henley on that.
Who's that? Bravo team was ready.
And on the Thursday of this week, we got a busy week this week. We're going to be recording Action Film Face Off episode 37, where it will feature myself, the Weasel Skull, and Kathleen from the chat. We're doing the Retro Rewind episode recording.
Go back in time.
Yeah, we normally set the randomizer for Action Film Face Off from 1970 to current day. For Retro Rewind, it's set from 1950 to 1969. So we had two movies, both from the 50s, that we're going to look at this time. And man, they're both really good films. So
take me away. I don't mind, but you gotta promise me I'll be back in time. Not the right show, but you know, it still fits.
So that is what we have coming up on that.
And Transformers Chronicles just came out. Listen to it.
Yeah, I listened to that today while I was making breakfast.
I listened to it last night.
Transformers Chronicles is the latest release. Apparently, in 2 weeks, Delvin will be the newest release, Unpacking the Power Pack episode, talking New Warriors. I saw where you guys got together and record. I saw Rick was like wanting to be on our Joe show. Then he invites Delvin on to his show. Bad move, Rick. Back to Romeo team for you for a while, I guess.
Bravo team still.
I got Power Pack comics laying around my house. That's all I'm saying.
Bravo team's going back in the water.
Now I tell you what, folks out there, as we give you a peek behind the curtain as we're leaving tonight, we have gotten a lot of requests to be snipers on Action Film Face Off, like a lot. And we have booked you, Rick. I put you on the calendar, but it's seriously not until like May or June of next year. That's how many requests we've gotten to be on it. And we've had a lot of fun with folks. Auburn Elvis has been on there. Kathy's been loved so much that she's got a quarterly appearance on the show, and we just keep cranking through those. So yeah, we'll be seeing you guys. I guess practically everybody in the chat will eventually be an Action Film Face Off appearance.
And you know, there's no obligation here, but if you want to be a sniper on the show, if you could maybe snipe that like button or snipe a comment in there,
we'd appreciate it.
We'd appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we haven't read any new comments, like shares, retweets. We haven't had any iTunes comments or anything, or anybody to mail in stuff recently. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
to see that
we definitely would appreciate your comments over on the podcast, especially if you're on Apple iTunes or whatever they call it, Apple Podcasts. If you go leave us a review, we just got one from Jeremiah. Nice.
Yeah.
We'd love some more. We'd love you to come give us those 5 stars rating on our show.
It took me 4 years, but I figured out.
Jason figured it. He's not joking. He literally just figured
it out. I can like our own show. Look at that.
Elvern Elvis mentioned some recipes. We did get yours, Elvern Elvis. So it's hard to say. But it was also cool to meet you as well.
Yes.
So,
yeah, we have
cool.
some cool stuff to show you from Auburn Elvis if you tune in on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing to see Auburn Elvis in his Auburn Elvis getup. That was I'd seen pictures, but never, seen the
Never
real
soaked
thing.
it in, huh?
I soaked it in at Dragon Con. That was really impressive.
Yeah. So that's what we're up to. And anybody else got anything before we say goodbye?
Thanks for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. We really appreciate it.
Always fun to talk cartoons or whatever. We should be back. I'll tell you when we're going to be back, and then we'll get on out of here. As you know, it's second Sunday of the month. So if I look on our calendar, that puts it on October 10th. Our tentative discussion, and it's always subject to change, but right now, since it's October, we're supposed to talk our top 5 horror films, which will be interesting for Delvin, who does not watch horror films. So
he's at least seen Alien. We know he's seen Alien.
It'd be Alien in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 slot for Delvin.
The top 5 horror movies of all time.
Alien,
and Alien.
All right, so prepare your top 5 horror movies. That's what we're planning on doing next month. And with that, I guess we're gonna act froze.